Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
VR Junkies is a virtual reality arcade. We specialize in all things VR, from the simple phone-based headsets to cutting-edge full-body motion systems. Check us out at the Coronado Mall. VR Junkies. Looking for some exhilarating fun? It's at All Out Zone. All Out Zone showcases Nerf Dart tag games from team elimination battles to human versus zombies, pitting 2 teams against each other in fun, organized chaos with trained referees, music, and a full arsenal of Nerf blasters. You need team parties, birthday parties. We can customize the party to fit your needs. Visit us at the Coronado Mall. Give us a call, 505-444-6964. All Out Zone.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Red Menace TV here on Proview Sports. I'm Leroy Lucero, along with well, before I do that, let me just kind of give a little background. He was going to take some time off this week because he had an interview coming up, but there was some huge news that came up last night, late in the afternoon, I should say. John Bones Jones failed yet another drug test, according to TMZ. So we had to bring him in. Micah Frankel of CageMinds.com, the only guy that knows everything about MMA sports in the state of New Mexico. Is that fair to say that? Knows the most?
That knows the most.
Are you okay? Are you willing to pat yourself on the back and take that pat on the back?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay.
Especially on the local level, I cover the most of what's CageMinds.com would be the source for all local combat sports, not just the bigger names that are going around like some of our local websites do.
So it's amazing because obviously this is Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather fight, and that was kind of the big, I guess, combat sports thing that they were hoping for. But then all of a sudden, John Bones Jones, off his victory over, what's Cormier's first name?
Daniel
Cormier, making him cry, and we found out why he made him cry now. What happened? What was the story? What was the report?
Okay, so let's just all set the scene real quick. watching last night the Contender Series, and texting with Michael Carlisle, hey, Jordan Espinosa gets a big win over Nick Ursa. We'll go over that later. We had Jordan on a couple weeks ago. And then Carlisle's like, hey, Micah, check out TMZ. To see that USADA has officially notified Dana White, the UFC, John Bones Jones, and his team of a potential violation. That means there's something up with the test. Does that mean automatically he has failed a drug test for steroids? No, because even last time it was not proven that he took steroids. Last time when he was suspended for a year, it was proven that he took a male enhancement pill that was not on the registered list, so it could have been something to mask a steroid, but there were no other proof of steroids. He served his year suspension. Now we'll have another investigation into what happened. His team is screaming foul play. Jones has to be beside himself by now, but you have to have evidence to prove it. So unless, from my knowledge, unless it's found that whatever they believe Jones took was in a supplement that he had been taking, which again, strange enough is, I believe he has tested at least 8 times throughout this camp, and 7 of 8 tests come back clean, even I guess a couple weeks out from the fight. And then between the weigh-ins and fight night, the theory is that Jones took an oral steroid that night before. Don't know anyone that could tell us what kind of pill you would take after the weigh-ins would possibly affect your performance the next night, because as we know about steroids, it's kind of a process.
Right.
So it'd be kind of, a little head scratching to see that USADA never caught on to this when they were staying on top of testing Jones, with this being his first fight coming off of the suspension. And if you don't recall, they let him fight right after the suspension was lifted. So we're talking about he was in camp while suspended training. They were stringently testing him, and then this last test comes out dirty, but it's what you can prove under the USADA guidelines. It's what they can prove. So
Michael,
John Jones is in the corner.
What is your camp saying? Are they saying this is a witch hunt? Are they saying this is there's some sort of shenanigans going on? What's the official stance of the John Bones Jones camp? I mean, because honestly, I'll tell you what, the optics look horrible. It's one of those things. There's certain things that if you're accused of, you're guilty. It doesn't matter. I mean, this is one of them. If you're accused of taking PEDs to try to backtrack and get that taken care of, I mean, he's guilty already in the court of public opinion. I don't think there's anyone, you already used the John Boneless Jones or whatever. You used I took this pill so that way my enhancement could be enhanced. You've already gone that different route. And now you're going to try to go this, they slipped a Mickey in my food, or my protein shake had this stuff that I didn't know about. I mean, ultimately, you're a human being. You're responsible for what goes into your body. You should know what you're taking. And would you trust? Would someone that already has been suspended, would he trust somebody again to give him whatever? I mean, you have to get testers now? Test every meal and drink that you get?
That would be the USADA way of doing it. The stringent guidelines of testing, basically, you do need to know every little microbe that's going in and out. And with a violation like this, every supplement that he has been taking, like last time, like what happened with Tim Means, will be sent to him. Now, I'm not sure in the scenario like what happened with Tim Means, if it is found to be in a supplement or something, I'm not sure with it being his second violation, what that would do in terms of sentencing. But basically, that would be the best case scenario for him, because I can't see an argument or a way around it. If they don't find it in a supplement, it went into your body, and we can't prove where it came from, you are then there and for guilty. So
these supplements that you're talking about, and I mean, come on, it's not like he's going to the local drugstore and picking up just Papa Joe's diet supplements or strength enhancement. I mean, these are like, someone's actually making these supplements. They're top of the line sort of stuff. But does he not have trainers? Does he not have dietitians or someone that's checking out all these substances, testing them all out?
That's why the team is so up in arms, because supposedly they have been so stringent on this case. That's what their standpoint has been, that they don't understand how this could happen, that there has been a nutritionist, a dietitian, that there has been people meticulously checking over Jones. So to see this happen is quite surprising to everyone that you would put in the handler role of John Jones. This, if it turns out to be positive, if this turns out to be John Jones is proven of taking steroids, this is 100% only on him, because this is something that I would gather had to take place in his home, because it was not taking place around any coach, trainer, the dietitian, because supposedly they were also on top of him. And I guess this would just be comparative to Lance Armstrong, somebody that came out, was so strong, was so steadfast about their opinion, even made such a resilient comeback in the face of adversity to only take this fall from heights again. It's the only sports comparison I could think to make it of.
You're part of this community, the combat sports, MMA, UFC community. What are people talking about? I mean, I'm sure you've spoken to plenty of people that are also part of that community. And I'm not saying you have to name names of what they're saying. I mean, but what are some of the people talking about?
There's a theory between just right now shock and let's let this materialize. From nobody would have believed it was a male enhancement last time to nobody would believe that Tim Means is, I believe right now, one of 4, and I hate to keep bringing up his name from what happened, 4 to 5 guys that have actually got those reduced 6-month suspensions. Because you think these athletes are the ones cheating? No, it's been the supplement companies have been cheating the athletes. That, oh, this works so great. Look at these natural ingredients. I never knew this mixture of, flour and sugar could make me so much stronger. And then they're proving, oh no, it's in the supplement. So a lot of this has been more of a referendum and a red light on the supplement company. But I've even talked to athletes that have tried to wean themselves away from it. And just the amount of exertion and what you put out in your body to compete in MMA with the variant different martial art classes and then strength and conditioning you have to do daily, it's impossible for food to give you everything you need in your body. So it is mandated or mandatory that you do take these supplements, but even the supplement providers now, you're wondering how shady is this industry?
So if you got it where you got the supplement industry shady, everyone's basically is prone to having to have these in there. Why not just make it happen?
Why not legalize steroids? I don't know. Why didn't the MLB do that? Because there's the long ball. It's just not one of those. You just can't. Well, it's a federal guideline. I mean, come on. We can't. They've talked about
legalize it, bro.
They talked about legalizing marijuana for studies to see how it affects NFL players with concussions.
Sure.
And there's unsubstantial, medical evidence. Well, let's take it a step farther and let's let fighters have steroids. Well, there are fighters. Phil Baroni, a UFC vet who's fought in Japan many times, has said, hey, that would just make it a level playing field.
Right.
Let's do it. But then you're going to get some roid rage dude out there like Brock Lesnar who nearly killed Mark Hunt. And Mark Hunt's like, well, I was the one guy that chose to be clean. Well, you're bad for choosing to be clean. It's one of the growing pains with USADA that we have this stringent testing, because if we don't have stringent testing, you look at Texas just batted an eye at Kimbo Slice's drug test, and then he dies a month later from a heart attack. There's the need for this testing. And as good as the testing becomes, then the people that make the drugs become even better at what they do or better at masking it. So it's a violent circle that perpetuates more discord and more of this black cloud around a sport that struggles for legitimacy all the time. John Jones did himself no favors, and you've got to figure that this is what they intended it to be for USADA. He would be a second-time offender. This would be the death penalty. We're talking about 4 years, and that's 4 years where the UFC has to keep him under contract, because you can't allow him to go fight somewhere else, because then he's allowed to get out of that USADA sanctioning. So they have to make an example of him, and then you're figuring in 2021, is John Jones on Bellator going to be a big deal? Is John Jones in Russia still going to be a big deal? He was able to keep himself relevant for the last 2 years with all of the circumstances that kept him outside the octagon. Is he still worth anything to sponsors? Is he still worth anything in the community if he's a cheater and he just can't get his stuff together? But a lot of the community is just in shock, especially here locally. because there was a different guy that I saw in the gym when I was there. There was a different determination. There was a different crowd he was hanging around with. So to see Bones again beat John Jones, because I kind of feel like that's the demon. We can name him just Bones.
Name him Bones.
Damon Bones. That's the badness of Johnny Bones Jones. It's almost unthinkable that this could happen again, that he would get in his own way, that he would start climbing back up this hill, start doing the right things. I mean, even from the moment that the adrenaline's running high, you could laugh at Daniel Cormier for "I made you cry again," and instead, John Jones was at that moment of levity, on his knees, groveling, thankful to get back to this place. It's hard to imagine that that was a guy that knowingly was taking steroids. But then again, if the glove fits, right now it's up to USADA to come down with their decision. And it's just a matter of shock. It's also a matter of a horrible position for the UFC. Dana White already wasn't talking to John Jones. They're never going to talk again. This has got to be even worse, because now you already see Conor McGregor fading away. We'll talk about more Conor McGregor later. Ronda Rousey is irrelevant. No matter how long I sit here and tell you how great some of these fighters are, Max Holloway, Robert Whittaker, they're not doing the pay-per-view buy rates, and that's what this business is about. We're not a sports league, as disgusting as that makes me about the UFC. This is the fight business. If you're not generating numbers and sales, it's not good for business. John Jones was that middle-level guy. They didn't break 1 million pay-per-view buys. They did 860,000. That's still the best number of the year. He was still that second-tier guy that you needed when Conor McGregor's not around, and now they lose that. The big secret also that came out last night is that they were working on UFC 218 for December in Detroit, the Palace in Auburn Hills, and it was going to be John Bones Jones not defending his title against Alexander Gustafsson, but taking on Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title of the world, so that when he would meet Brock Lesnar in the summer, it would be for the UFC heavyweight title.
Well, Brock Lesnar, why would they bring him back if he
Because it is a big money draw. Did you not just hear me talk about how
I
this
hear
is
that, but we've already know that he already
money?
has gotten in trouble with substance abuse and that sort of stuff. Or not substance abuse, but
with the USADA violation.
So
6 months you serve your suspension.
Okay, so then let me...
Pay-per-view buys. Why does McGregor fight Mayweather? Because of pay-per-view buys and money generated. We're not talking about a fight league. We're not talking about NFL and the guy that actually wins his fights gets a title shot. We're talking about the dude that you're going to pay to see gets the biggest paycheck. And Brock Lesnar at UFC 200, even though it was disgusting, generated a bunch of buy rates. And you know who doesn't care about drug tests? WWE fans, because they buy his pay-per-views, they buy the network, and they buy his t-shirts. So why wouldn't Dana White, Ari Gold, UFC, WME want back in that business? Because they could get 1 million pay-per-view buys.
Well, I just think
again.
it's interesting. You in an earlier statement, you said a sport that's struggling for legitimacy, and then you're going to try to put something like this together. But I mean, we'll save that for another day to talk about.
There are people that make it a sport and that want it to be legitimate.
Right.
But that's not the people that own the UFC. That's not Scott Coker who makes the matchups at Bellator. They're not the ones that care about the money. There are people that want it legitimized as a sport, the true martial artists, but this is a business, and that's what Bellator promotes. That's why Fedor Emelianenko gets a pay-per-view co-main event. That's why Chael Sonnen, an even more notorious drug user, no matter how many drugs John Jones does, Chael Sonnen still tested positive for more. Y'all don't care. You still watch Bellator.
That's true. That's true.
No matter what, everybody is about the money in the fight game.
Real quick, so what's in the near future for Jones? They didn't strip the title away, correct? Not yet?
He has not been officially stripped because he has not been officially found guilty. Right now, it's being basically, this is the craziest thing in the world. There's a B sample. They haven't tested it. A sample came out negative. Imagine, or positive. Imagine if B sample comes out negative. They found out A sample's tested. They have to then retract. There's a media retraction. John Jones is then found innocent. He's still the champion. Right now, the title would be around his waist because he's not guilty. Also, that also hurts the UFC. They don't have a main eventer right now, and it's not like you can give Cormier the title back and say, oh yeah, we want you to fight in December, because I'm pretty sure Jones still scrambled his brains with that head kick. He is in no condition to fight.
Oh, what a mess. And if found guilty, what's the penalty we're looking at?
I think it's a 4-year suspension.
So that would be the end of his career, pretty much.
That would be, I don't know how you stay relevant, how somebody wants to give you a second chance. And I don't know if him personally enough is he's financially stable enough to continue just training and being a sponsored entity to continue his life. I believe we're still in his young 30s. He was the youngest champion ever.
So he's like 32 maybe?
Maybe he might even just be 30. I'll get back to that to you here later in the show. Let me look it up real quick.
That's like 34, 35. That's
but it is meant in the USADA guidelines that if you are found guilty of a second offense, they want to make it long enough that it's basically a death penalty for your career.
All right. It's Micah Frankel, obviously from CageMinds.com. You can catch him there constantly. We're going to take a quick break, and you want to go ahead and, let's take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
See you guys later.
Did you want to talk?
Just crash forward with it. Is it a touchdown? They're signaling it.
Cuts it back, Lynch easy does it. Goal number 1 for the Lobos this morning.
Jennings far pulls, and she's got side net.
Look at this! A quick start for the Lobos. 1-0.
Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real. So with the big matchup between the El Dorado Eagles and the La Cueva Bears, time to make my pick here on the Proview Rundown. I'm going to go with the El Dorado Eagles. You know, I'm going to change my decision, and I'm going to go with the La Cueva Bears. They're feeling it. All right, hey, calm down. Guys, you do it every time. This is ridiculous. You know what? I'm going to be in makeup.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real.
You two, jeez.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Garden Sort's Team Sales is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between. Garden Schwartz Team Sales. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Altitude Sports Grill is where Albuquerque's sports fans won't miss a game. With locally crafted brews on tap and refreshingly crisp cocktails. Located in Hotel Cascada, Albuquerque residents find a staycation worth staying for. Catching Lobo sports, enjoying a beer on the beach, or wiping out, Hotel Cascada is home to your urban adventure. Affordable guest rooms, no-hassle water park parties, and much more.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV here. CageMinds.com segment. We had an extended segment because I wanted to bring you in to talk about the John Bone Jones situation, but I also wanted to talk to you as we're now in your segment officially. I should have let you announce it, and I'm mad because I wanted the backdrop of yours because I wanted to be, I haven't been there. See, I always wanted to be in this logo. I always wanted to be here. That has been my dream since we started having you on the show, is I want to be in that logo. You've always with the Red Menace, never with the Cage Mind. So now this is my bucket list. I can mark it off. But the reason I wanted to bring you into, or the reason I wanted to horn in on your segment, big fight this weekend. John Bones. I got John Bones Jones on my head. Conor versus Conor McGregor and
we got Floyd Money Mayweather and Conor McGregor. We have the spectacle. I can't even call it a fight because technically this is taking place in a set of rules that makes it a boxing match. And Floyd Money Mayweather is a boxer. He's a very superb boxer. I mean, like unofficially, I think 52-0. I think there was 3 domestic violences he got out of. I mean, the dude beats everybody he gets near, of course, once he's able to lay his hands on them or defensively avoid them. Now, you've got to take a step back and first off appreciate the star that Conor McGregor has made himself into to gain the kind of attention to warrant a $100 million payday. He's fighting for a ton of money here, even if he loses. There are many boxers not making this money. There's no MMA fighters making this money. Conor McGregor, whether you like him or not, has caused such attention to himself that you can't help but look at him. You can't help but care about what these two are doing. That's how they created a world tour that went to 3 countries, 4 different cities. These guys have put together such a story behind this fight, from the Paulie Malignaggi angle to a slightly racist angle to you can just hate Mayweather. Oh, don't forget, he's going for 50-0 to can an amateur in boxing, because McGregor has never had a professional boxing fight. Can an amateur boxer, a true fighter, but an amateur boxer, can he turn a boxing match into a fight against the best boxer of this generation? It adds all these questions and all this intrigue. And if you've enjoyed all these countless hours of trash talking, of vulgar, just random verbalness from the two of them, this weekend, $100, you could look at the grand scheme and say it's not a bad price for all the entertainment encompassing that we've had.
Let me ask you a question real quick about this fight. You mentioned that Conor's a fighter. He's going to want to try to turn it into a brawl. That'd be his only chance.
Well, it's to brawl, or it's to do something outlandishly crazy and unorthodox. That would be, and I couldn't even be able to really comprehend how unorthodox it would have to be to land and to shock Mayweather. But it has to be some kind of dirty to unorthodox method to get anything offensively accomplished in that ring.
So Mayweather has to know that that's what he's going to try to do. Is he sound enough in his mind and skills that he's not going to allow himself to get drug into that sort of a situation?
49-0, an Olympian. I think he was on the Olympic team, wasn't Floyd? He was at least a contender for it. He's went through a long amateur career. He's bored many people in many arenas for a very long time, and with a very good promotional hype man behind him. Leonard Ellaby is a genius, telling you that you are watching greatness as you were bored watching paint and dry. The defensive tactician that is Floyd Mayweather. That is how he has made his money. That is how he has kept his money. You can't expect that this Irishman in his trash talking is really going to push Mayweather to come out to be offensive. Because let's not forget, a one-arm Manny Pacquiao wasn't enough of a target for Mayweather to become offensive. This is going to be what it's always been, unless Conor McGregor can make it something special.
Now, Conor McGregor, obviously, he's never been into later rounds, other than the longest he's been, 5 rounds?
Well, he's been 5 rounds. He's been 25 minutes. So people wondering about how long his cardiovascular
One time,
ability.
Though, right?
One time, yeah, he's made it, I believe, 5 rounds back in Cage Warriors. You got to figure that he's going to have at least 6 to 7, maybe 8 rounds in him, because 8 rounds would be 24 minutes. And we're also thinking you get that minute break in between, where in MMA you're going 5 minutes. So maybe he can make it 8 rounds. According to the Malignaggi sparring video, he does have power into the 12th round. That doesn't matter. None of those rounds matter. If he can't get anything done in the first 4 rounds, I don't know if he'll have any more tricks to pull out of the bag, another rabbit to get out of the hat that Mayweather hadn't seen in that fight. And Mayweather does a great job of analyzing and adjusting and understanding what his opponent wants to do. He does run from him, but he still slips punches. He sees what you're going to want to do. McGregor has to get something done early, or Mayweather's already going to be capitalizing on what McGregor's doing.
Not being able to use his legs, just his arms, how quickly, you kind of mentioned it, I guess, will he gas out?
Actually, you got to think that he probably will have a little more gas in the tank, because he's not kicking, he's not jumping, you're not sprawling, you're just punching. So you got to figure that at least the legs will be there, and that will keep the punching power there. So if we really want to say how late into the fight he'll have heavy power, I could think round 7 or round 8, he still could have some pop on his punches, because he's not using the kicks, and the kicks aren't being delivered to him, taking away those legs.
Now in MMA, there's not a lot of running.
Well, no. We have seen Conor McGregor run straight away from the other side of the cage from Nate Diaz before.
I'm talking about, but not a continual, you're trying to make
No, but it's a good lap, man.
You do want to fight.
They do want to fight.
They do want to fight, whereas Mayweather doesn't always seem like he wants to fight.
Mayweather has never wanted to fight.
Right.
Mayweather has wanted to box, and Mayweather has wanted to make money. That's why he's a defensive magician.
So what's the frustrations level would be like for McGregor having a guy that doesn't want to fight?
$100 million, who cares?
Well, but I'm just talking about the actual fight itself. I understand about the. I'm just saying, what's his frustration in the ring?
Of it. His frustration can get to the point where you maybe faint with a knee or you faint with a kick and you scare Mayweather into thinking he's like, dude, ref, what is he going to do? Maybe it gets that crazy. Maybe he faints with an elbow. Maybe he does something to get inside the head of Mayweather. But again, it's still very hard to foresee Mayweather getting outside of that defensive shell and opening up to become offensive. Because again, he had an injured opponent, one arm, Manny Pacquiao in front of him, and he didn't take advantage of it. He's had fights with Maidana. He's had fights with Cotto. He's had these guys that are aggressive brawlers, these guys that want to fight, and they haven't been able to do it. But there's this aura around Conor McGregor that the MMA community stand behind him, shout and cheer for him, and the Irish community definitely believes in him.
Real quick, because I know we're running out of time, but real quick, I just wanted to ask you, who's your winner and what point?
Well, as I've said for every Mayweather fight ever, I'm taking Mayweather by decision. But if you see me that night drunk at the bar, I am cheering for McGregor.
You're not going to be drunk at the bar.
No, I won't be.
You'll be riding and
I'll
doing
be riding. No, I won't be. It's boxing. I won't be riding. We will not have an in-depth report for you guys that next day because I probably can't do it justice. I'll give you some websites. I'll share those of some true boxing analysts. I cover the local scene here for boxing to help it out. That national scene. Oh, and let's get to the dirty secret of this event real quick. It's Mayweather. It's McGregor. It's the biggest spectacle ever. Wipe that all aside, and what are you left with? You're actually left with the greatest boxing card that's ever been assembled for pay-per-view. 4 title fights, 2 more on Fox on the prelims. Don't let this Mayweather-McGregor hoopla distract the true boxing fans that this is their event, and this is probably the best pay-per-view for boxing, and it's actually worth the money if you care about boxing.
And I hate to drag you in this, but how many true boxing fans are left if you got to put up this spectacle to draw these kind of numbers?
Only buy rates will tell, but I can tell you that PBC, when they were going free on TV, you were seeing an uprise in the numbers to the 6 figures to where they felt they were doing very good in the market. So it seems that there is that appetite, and just the fact that Mayweather is going for 50-0, not to mention 4 other title fights on the card, I do believe it's a very hush, quiet, dirty secret that the hardcore boxing fans are actually excited for the event. Not for that main event, not for the spectacle, but for an event. And I'm proud to see boxing following the footsteps of MMA and promoting an event instead of like previous Mayweather cards where you had one lackluster co-main event feature and then his fight, which was even more lackluster. Now you have a spectacular event Saturday night.
Awesome. Mike, I'm sorry that I cut into all your time, but I wanted to give you time to talk about these 2 big stories. I know next week when you come back, you'll have some news on that, but you'll also have a lot more locally. Quickly, you mentioned locally a couple of guys that you've had on the show pulled out some victories this week.
Well, I don't know if we have time to hit the highlights, but a couple weeks ago we did have Jordan Espinosa here as our guest, and I can report to you that Jordan did get his revenge. He was able to defeat Nick Urso with a technical submission. It all started off with a head kick. The knee of Espinosa landed to Urso. Urso was hurt, shot in, got caught in a Darish choke. I'm going to post the photos on Cage Minds Combat Sports News on Facebook so you can understand what I'm talking about. No tap from Urso. He went to sleep, and then in his second time around on the Contender Series, Joby Sanchez this time got JP by his back. He flattened him out, grounded pounded to the finish, and Joby Sanchez is once again a UFC fighter. He did earn a contract, impressed Dana White enough. Next time we see Sanchez, we'll be in the octagon.
Awesome. Stay tuned stay tuned to Red Menace TV. We'll be back. We'll have Adam Deal on to talk about all the high school sports and Yaffle sports that's going on here at Proview Networks. Also, next week, we're going to have someone put you in a Darish choke, right?
We're going to see if I can find a coach that's willing.
All right, we'll be back right after this on Red Menace TV.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
What do these interns even do on their break, man?
I don't even know. It's probably way too crazy.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV. Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but two great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's off Academy and in Nob Hill. Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
You know, we try to let all of our interns do everything here at Proview Sports Network. Sometimes it just doesn't pan out. Hey everybody, welcome to the Proview Rundown. I'm Adam Deal. What a big week in football, week 3. As you all know, cut. Come on, this Eagle, jeez.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV. Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV here on Proview Sports Network. Brought on Adam Deal. Why did we bring in on Adam Deal? Because what time of the year is it?
It's that time of the year.
It's that time of the year. It's football time. We've been dying for this all summer long. It's been a hot summer. It's still a little bit warm, but football starts Wednesday evening. And then just goes full force this whole week. So we had to bring you in. Obviously, we've been doing some Yaffle games for the past 2 weeks, correct?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to get a rundown, of what's going on in high school sports and what's going on here with Proview Sports and some of the games that we're going to be doing, and how many games is Proview Sports going to do in football this year?
Too many. We're doing too many games, no, in the best of ways. And you're actually starting off with some Yaffle this weekend, right? You're
yes,
gonna do some
absolutely.
play-by-play, Leroy, which is really cool. Yeah, so we've been doing this for 10 years, our 10th year anniversary. And Wednesday night, first game at Trisco Heritage Monzano, right here, Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26. And we stream everything through the NFHS network. There is subscription through the NFHS network. That's how it works. But if you don't have Comcast 26, then you could watch everything online as well. And you can go to our website, www.proviewNetworks.com, and there is that matchup at Trisco Heritage and Monzano. Monzano, one of the teams that a lot of people think can win the championship this year. That's how good they are. So very interesting. But go to our website, ProviewNetworks.com. Our whole schedule is there for the week. But Leroy, we've got just about every Metro team playing this week on our channel, which is great, starting with that first matchup. Thursday night, we've got Del Norte as they take on West Mesa, which is actually one of the more intriguing matchups. And then Friday night, we've got 5 separate games that you could watch. And then Saturday, we've got the 2 Yaffle games. You'll do one of them. And then obviously you've got the Saturday afternoon game, which is a good one, Volcano Valley. So.
No, I heard it was Cleveland versus Rio Rancho.
Cleveland. Oh no, I'm talking about the
I'm sorry.
Saturday football game is for high school sports is after Yaffle is what I'm talking about, Volcano Valley. So we actually have a triple header on Saturday, which is crazy, right? So we've got the 2 Yaffle games. One you're going to do, which is Cleveland and Rio Rancho, right? Which is really cool. That's a nice rivalry that develops even at a young age, which is fun. And that after your game, immediately we'll go to Community Stadium and we'll have Valley and Volcano for you all live on Proview Sports Network. So a ton in front of us.
So I have to ask you, as this time of season rolls in, and I know you do a lot of play-by-play, one of the premier play-by-play guys here in the state. Definitely, I know you do colleges. You've done some college as well, and so like, do you carry around like honey, or what do? You just kind of coat the throat between quarters?
I've never really had a problem, and I've done a lot of games. The biggest problem I always have, and all the guys, the crew know, our hardest time of the year, Proview Sports Network definitely is undoubtedly the New Mexico High School State Basketball Tournament. Okay, and so that's when your voice can get kind of numb, right? So I when I was a rookie and I'm just starting and I'm doing this tournament, I got 7 games in one game that I'm broadcasting, and you're doing this for 4 days. You know, the very first day, the very first game, I'm like, 3-pointer in the corner, knocks it down, and I'm just screaming, right? And, and I realize, you got to pace yourself the first day, so it's all good. But no, football is never really an issue. Right?
Well, I know you just had a birthday. I think you turned like 22 or 21 or something.
31, all right, 31.
So I guess when you were young, there's that excitement, but you're learning how to pace.
Yeah, you got to pace it, or else it's not. But you know what? Not football season though. I'm not going to pace it. I'm going to go all in tonight.
Go all in.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Also, game of the week.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the game of the week.
Yeah, so a deal that we worked out with My50TV, and this is the second year now. My50TV, we've been doing some things like Gladiator football, and we did do one Albuquerque Soul game on My50TV. Last year we did 5 games on My50 midway through the season, and this year they loved it so much, and ratings were really good. And so My50TV wanted to pick it up, so we're doing a game a week every week on My50. It's a must-carry channel, so everyone has it, which is awesome, and it's statewide, which is cool. And everyone knows Proview Sports Networks, we're limited just to Comcast, and that is what it is. We're proud of that. But with My50, we get a broader audience, which is great. And our first one is La Cueva versus Cibola, and so that'll be live on Friday night. Actually, an 8 p.m. start time, which is weird because they're doing a doubleheader from Newsenda Stadium. The first game, Rio Grande versus San Diego, could be seen here on ProView, and then also we have on ProView immediately after that, which is cool, is Rio Rancho's taking on Mayfield. So we've got a ton of TV games, 3 TV games, one night football. So it's a lot of action that's going on.
So I mean, you said when you were a rookie, you've been. How long have you been with ProView Sports now?
I've been doing broadcasts. This will be my 9th year doing broadcasts with ProView Sports Network, which is cool.
Isn't it amazing how much it's grown? I think this is our 5th year doing the show here.
Yeah.
And I know I've done some other games with you and Stars and Proview and Gladiators when they were when the Stars were around, and the Gladiators and some high school stuff. Isn't it amazing how much it's grown in the past 9 years?
Absolutely. J.D. Healy and Steve Davis. Steve Davis has always owned this company, and J.D. Healy did a lot of great stuff and putting the groundwork really to set up for success. And then I was fortunate enough when J.D. left to the NFHS network to step in here and help Steve continue to move the ship in the right direction. And we've partnered with great people, and the city of Albuquerque has been big supporters of us. Hence, we have a city channel now, Comcast 26 Proview Sports Network, and our equipment has gotten better, and you see that, Leroy. Our graphics and our crew is unbelievable with Alden Iowani, Josh Brown, and Jason Pohl, and so it's all kind of meshed together into this. We've got a really good product that we can produce really good games all of a sudden.
I really love the commercials that you do with
those are fun, aren't they?
Those are awesome.
Those are good.
Those are some of the best ones ever.
They're good.
And the eagle flying, I think I like that.
Yeah,
it's kind of good.
You got to go to mascot acting school to be able to do that. One of our very own is good at it.
So let me ask you a little bit about the high school scene, statewide and locally. The past couple of years, I mean, the power used to be always down in Las Cruces.
Yeah.
And it seems like that shift has happened to where now it's in Rio Rancho.
Well, I don't want to say it's a shift completely, right? So it's not like the South isn't competitive anymore. So it's always been the South and just the South and North not competitive. Well, now, Rio Rancho has won 2 state championships in the last 3 years. Cleveland, they've won 2 state championships in the last 5 years. Collectively, they have both won 4 championships in the last 6 years. There was a stretch there where Cruces went back to back.
Right.
So I'm not going to say the power has shifted. Rio Rancho and Cleveland together have won the last 3, and yes, the South probably are very irritated, very much so, as they probably should be. but they're right there. And in fact, our ProView Top 10 poll we just released yesterday, we have Las Cruces #1. They're returning a slew of talent that's unbelievable. Can Rio Rancho and Cleveland win it? Yes, they can again this year. They're that good. They're 2-3, and we think they're going to be very good. But Las Cruces, let's not forget about them, or Mayfield. They're both right there. So I don't think the power has shifted completely. I just think now that Rio Rancho and Cleveland are going to be competitive with Cruces going forward.
Well, living in Rio Rancho, I'm going to give Rio Rancho, the city of Rio Rancho.
I'm with you. I mean, that's my,
I hear you.
That's my alum, Rio Rancho. So, I'm for them.
What about Albuquerque? Let's talk about some of the Albuquerque schools.
Yeah, I mean, Albuquerque obviously hasn't had really the most success in big school football, except for La Cueva, who's won 4 championships. But even them, they've been, I guess, off the cusp lately, but they're going to be good this year. But the team to watch is Manzano. Everybody knows who Jordan Bird is. Jordan Bird is an unbelievable athlete, and he's going to San Diego State, at least verbally committed, but he has offers to a lot of really good schools, and they're returning 10 of 11 players on defense. This is a team that went to the semifinals and lost to Rio Rancho last year. Rio Rancho was just a buzzsaw, but this is a team that could win state, Manzano. We can't wait to see them in Wednesday Night Football. And then we've got La Cueva, who's just on the outside of that top 5 underneath Mayfield. Their defense is fantastic. They scrimmaged Rio Rancho and held Rio Rancho to scoreless. So I don't know how much Rio Rancho was actually putting in on that one, but La Cueva is going to be good, and those are the 2 metro area schools to watch. St. Pius, of course, is a local school. They're 5A state champs, but they lost literally their whole team to graduation, so I think they'll rebuild. So
they'll be rebuilding, and then obviously you still have Del Norte.
Yeah, and so Del Norte in the 5A, I don't know what to expect from him. Coach Binkley's come into his 4th season already there. None of us really know, and that's why they're in their matchup against West Mesa is really interesting. A 6A school to start the season on Thursday Night Football here in Proview, and we're going to find out there. Other metro schools that are always interesting are Volcano Vista, always with a wealth of talent. Maybe sometimes they underproduce, and when they're underproducing, sometimes they overproduce. We never know what to really expect with Volcano Vista, but they're always interesting. That whole District 1 with Rio Rancho, Cleveland, Cibola, Volcano, and now PV is one of the more interesting districts for sure.
So what do you think it is? I mean, we talked about Las Cruces and the schools down there, and then what they have. Obviously, talent is another big thing. Rio Rancho, same thing. There's a lot of talent in Rio Rancho as well. What is it about? Is it because it's spread out? There's so many schools. Is it the junior high sports? Is it I mean, some of the JVs at JV teams in Rio Rancho and Cleveland are pretty competitive. They could compete, I think, in Albuquerque.
At a level, yeah. I'm going to go with 3 things that separates Las Cruces and why Rio Rancho is now very similar to Las Cruces and APS is in the middle of nowhere. Is for one, APS is a little bit more spread thin population-wise, and so you have more students trying out for the football team in Cleveland and Rio Rancho, and also in Las Cruces and Mayfield and Oñate, and now Centennial's been built, which has kind of watered down their talent a little bit. So I think Rio Rancho and Cleveland are the 2 biggest schools in the state. I think besides Atrisco and Hobbs are there, but they have a lot of wealth of talent to choose from. Also, their facilities, along with their coaching staff, are much better and bigger. So coaching staffs, you could have twice the size of a coaching staff as an APS school is allowed to have, which obviously helps you with skill positions and being more organized going forward. And then you could build a program. And so Cleveland and Rio Rancho have strongly done that. And their facilities, if anybody wants to go to Rio Rancho or Cleveland to start off their high school football career, they will. Any transfers that come in, if you notice, all the good ones, they end up going to Rio Rancho and Cleveland. And so they benefit from that. So those are the 3 things I think that separate them. And that's very similar. Las Cruces have great facilities. Las Cruces have unbelievable donors and a atmosphere that provides a lot of money, and it's more like West Texas football in Las Cruces. And so I think Rio Rancho and Cleveland have kind of mimicked that, and then hence why they're a power. APS is at a big disadvantage because they have none of those things. They don't have a stadium every day that they could practice in. Right? They have a beat up football field, and there's a big difference.
You mentioned Centennial being built now and how it kind of spread things out. When do you think Rio Rancho gets a 3rd high school?
They're going to. I know it's in the plans. You're probably still looking at 5 years down the road, and I know that probably upsets everybody in APS and even around the state, because Rio Rancho and Cleveland in every sport should continue to always field teams that should compete for state championships.
Now, one of the things that APS has going forward, if you will, are the Albuquerque schools, and something that Proview Sports does a lot is Yaffle. How big is that for APS? Obviously, they don't have junior high sports there, but these young men can play Yaffle football.
Well, it's monstrous, and you can kind of grow, and you can kind of see your team coming up from Yaffle, right, that ends up going and playing in high school, and it's great. But the problem with that is it also, Yaffle is also in Rio Rancho and Cleveland. It's just as popular, right? And now Yaffle is also coming from Los Lunas and Belen, and even Gallup has teams, Yaffle teams that they're putting in now. And so I don't think it's that big of a benefit to APS directly.
Okay.
I think it benefits kind of the whole area of sports and programs. Cool. Now, Rio Rancho also, they have middle school, high school football, or middle school football.
Right.
Which, is another farm for them to kind of, I mean, if you notice, Rio Rancho in Cleveland, they lose a ton of talent and they just rebuild. Next year they're good.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of young men that have verbally committed or will be signing for D1 scholarships. I think more than ever. In the state of New Mexico, or it seems like every year we're starting to have a slew.
Well,
when I was younger, it used to be 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think we do have a lot of D1 talent. I think a lot of people complain about us not having a lot of talent too, which is frustrating because that's inaccurate. If you're watching, there's D1 talent across all levels of sports in New Mexico, and I think you just, you hit it is here in football. We're really developing some. You got Jordan Burt, who is getting offers from TCU and San Diego State. Keyshawn Banks, best defensive end. Tafoya Valles from Rio Rancho. He just got an offer from UTEP. And
I heard he was injured. He's injured now. He's going to miss the first. I think I saw it in the Albuquerque Journal. James Yotis had a story. He's going to, or I think I saw it, that he's going to be out for a couple of weeks with surgery. He had surgery.
For which player? This is breaking news.
The last one.
Tafoya Valles. Well, that's not good for
Rio Rancho, correct?
Yeah, it's not good for Rio Rancho at all, the offensive lineman. So that's frustrating, I'm sure. But he is going to UTEP, which is good for him. And
sure,
the D1.
Well, it's good for the state too. I don't care what anyone says. If these young men are starting to get offers, it's good for the state.
Zach Gentry, everybody knows he was a highly touted quarterback, one of the best in the nation, and converted to tight end, which everyone is like, how could you do that? But he's going to be getting a lot of playing time for the 7th-ranked Wolverines at Michigan this year, and he's going to be a true sophomore, right? So, or he's going to be a redshirt sophomore. So he's got 3 seasons to play and develop, and they really like him. And he's fighting for a starting job even because they use 2 tight ends at Michigan. So there's a ton of talent. I think that comes out.
And I know we're running out of time, but I wanted to ask you this: you've seen these kids play, starting out really young. I mean, now even with the Yaffle, we see them from the beginning, growing up. You had the last year with Corey Alford with Bryce Alford and Cullen Neal, and I mean, you've seen those guys go. Proview Sports has been a huge part of
That's what I love about it, because we've done so many of these kids' games, and you get to watch them do something bigger and better. So that's what's really cool about it.
And I think what's also awesome about it is these young men now have video, and coaches from across the country can now look at these guys and say, hey, you know what, let's take a look at this game. We can actually see game footage.
They can watch, recruiting too. They could watch games live, watch them streaming. So
it's huge. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, I know, being on the college side of things and talking to them, nothing a kid likes more than is to have their recruiter call and say, hey, I was watching your game, Friday night, and who's this Adam Deal guy that's calling you, talking big stuff about you? Saltese there at UNM. I mean, he had a big plug, gave Proview
look
Sports
how many
a big
players
plug,
that UNM has from here locally. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, we're coming to the end of the show. I want to thank Micah Frankel for giving us all the MMA news and stuff that's going on there. Do you have any thoughts on McGregor and Mayweather, whatever his name is?
Nah,
no thoughts. You'll be doing high school sports at the end.
I mean, I'll watch the fight,
but don't forget, if you can, even if you could, Proview Sports has everything that you want local.
Just turn it on to Comcast 26, and we're going to be doing something most likely live. All right, that's really
absolutely right. All right. Hey, Leroy Lucero, we'll catch you next week here on Red Menace TV. Until then, God bless you all.
Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
VR Junkies is a virtual reality arcade. We specialize in all things VR, from the simple phone-based headsets to cutting-edge full-body motion systems. Check us out at the Coronado Mall. VR Junkies.